Hey babies, today we're going to read Spider-Man vs. Mysterio. Peter Parker was used to seeing Spider-Man on the cover of the Daily Bugle. He was even used to the Bugle calling Spider-Man public enemy #1, but he was not used to hearing what his friends believed what the Bugle had to say. "Look at that," Gwen Stacy said, pointing at the newspaper. "Spider-Man robbed a bank." Peter peered over his friend's shoulders. The article was about Spider-Man robbing a bank, and there were pictures. If only Peter's friends knew that he was really Spider-Man, they would never believe the article. Peter knew that he didn't rob the bank. It must have been an imposter. Peter knew that he could find out more at the Daily Bugle. He changed into a Spider-Man costume and raced across the city. At the Bugle, Peter found his boss, J. Jonah Jameson. JJJ had always believed that Spider-Man was a menace. "Parker," JJJ yelled, holding up that morning's newspaper. "I need you to get a picture of Spider-Man breaking the law for the front page." Peter gulped. How could he prove that Spider-Man wasn't a criminal? Just then, a strange caped figure appeared in Jameson's office. He called himself Mysterio. Mysterio told JJJ that if Spider-Man wanted to learn the truth, he would meet the web slinger the next morning atop the Brooklyn Bridge. The next morning, Spider-Man swung over to the bridge. He knew it was probably a trap, but he had to clear his name. Spider-Man found Mysterio waiting for him. Spider-Man tried to defeat the villain, but Mysterio's strange powers and abilities were too much for him. With a wave of his hand, Mysterio disintegrated Spider-Man's webs right before Spidey's eyes. Spider-Man lunged forward, but the menacing Mysterio vanished in the thin air. Defeated, Peter returned to the Daily Bugle. He could hardly believe his eyes. Mysterio was shaking hands with Jameson. JJJ was happy to hear about Mysterio's fight with Spider-Man. He didn't trust Spidey and believed Mysterio to be New York's true hero. Peter had to do something. He secretly placed a small homing device on Mysterio's cape. Then, as Spider-Man, Peter used the homing device to trace Mysterio. Within minutes, Spider-Man had tracked the villain to a television studio. But Mysterio was waiting for Spider-Man. As soon as the superhero entered the studio, the villain attacked. Spider-Man was down but not out. He still needed to know if Mysterio was the imposter who had robbed the bank. "Of course it was me," Mysterio cackled. "Who else would have the genius to improve upon your powers?" Once I was a great special effects and makeup artist, but then the movies changed and effects were done by computers. No one needed classical special effects anymore. So I used my skills to duplicate yours. I created an entirely new character, the menacing Mysterio. And as Mysterio, I will defeat Spider-Man and become the greatest hero the world has ever known. For I am both the criminal and the conqueror, Spider-Man. Now prepare to meet your doom. Before Mysterio could strike again, Spider-Man leaped into action. But Mysterio knew the layout of the television studio. He knew exactly how to escape. Mysterio ran through the set of a science fiction show, but he could not outrun the amazing Spider-Man. With all his super strength, Spider-Man crashed down on Mysterio, knocking the villain out. Spider-Man turned Mysterio over to the police. Then he swung by the Bugle to let JJJ know who the real hero was. Later, back at Midtown High, Peter listened in as his friends read the newspaper. He was relieved to hear that they thought Spider-Man was a hero again. And so the menacing Mysterio, with his mannequin movie magic, had been defeated by the spectacular Spider-Man. The end. I hope you like your Spider-Man book. I miss you guys very much, and I love you guys so, so much. I can't wait to see you. I want you to be really good for Daddy and have lots of fun at Grandma and Grandpa's. I love you guys so much. Bye, babies.